Hare Krishna. Right. So Hare Krishna, everyone. So I'll be presenting this evening the Jhulan Yatra. We'll go through the song which we sing, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. Then maybe see how much time there is. We can take a little bit of the Jhulan Leela itself, Krishna and Radharani performing the Jhulan pastime, the swing pastime. And we'll discuss that also. And then we can finish with the Jai Radha Jai Krishna song also. Okay, so I have my harmonia here. See how we go with time. I don't really have a cutoff time at the moment, so we'll just see how everyone is doing and take it like that. Okay. So I'll speak a little bit about this Jhulan pastime first. Before I begin, I'll just chant the Mangala chant. So you can join in if you like. You can just listen on. If you're singing along, then just keep, if you can keep it mute. The way there's an interference in the sound. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaturmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangolam gayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Alright, so I'll speak on the song Jaya Radha Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. So if you have a copy of the song, you can follow along as we discuss, and I'll share some points about this song. So I'll sing it a little bit by bit, and then I'll discuss also. So beginning from the top of the song, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha madana-mohan. So of course this song is glorifying the land of Vrindavan, which is where Sri Krishna lives. This is Krishna's home. So generally when people think of God, they think of God in a very opulent way, general people in general. But God's place of work is quite different to his home. So the Supreme Lord has that feature of supreme majesty and opulence in the realm of Vaikuntha. However, in Vrindavan or at Krishna's home, the atmosphere is quite different. It's very sweet. And so, Krishna doesn't grow beyond 16 years of age in the land of Vrindavan. He's ever youthful because youth is most enjoyable age. So there's 3 deities mentioned here, which are very important in Vrindavan, whom we can all go and see even today. So here is mentioned Sri Govinda, Gopinath, and Madan-mohan. And these deities are very important to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas in particular. So in our particular line of Vaishnavism and ISKCON, these deities are very important. First of all, there is Govinda, is mentioned. So who is Govinda? It's described that the face of Govinda, he is exactly like the face of Sri Krishna. So meditating on this face of Govinda, you can see Krishna, how he actually looks in the spiritual world. This is the most prominent feature of Govinda. Govinda, he's the worshipable deity of Rupa Goswami. So it said that Rupa Goswami Prandan He. There's a song which is Radha Govinda Rupa Goswami Prandan He. So today happens to be the disappearance day of Rupa Goswami. Today is his disappearance day. Today is the day he returned from his pastimes in this material world to the pastimes again in the spiritual world. And he was the worshipper of this Govinda deity. Then is mentioned Gopinath. Gopinath is the deity of Madhu Pandit. Madhu Pandit. Who is Madhu Pandit? Madhu Pandit is the disciple of Gadadhar. Gadadhar, just like the other members of the Panchatattva, we worship when we chant the Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So Gadadhar, his one disciple is Madhu Pandit Goswami, and his deity's name is Gopinath. Now Gopinath is also extraordinarily beautiful. And it's mentioned that the chest of Gopinath most perfectly represents or resembles Sri Krishna in person, in the spiritual world. So when we see Gopinath, we can remember this. And then there is Madan-mohan, mentioned here. Madan-mohan is the deity of Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami, he's the elder brother of Rupa Goswami. One day Rupa Sri Sanatan. So Sanatan Goswami, his deity is Madan-mohan. And the beautiful feature of Madan-mohan, the most beautiful feature, of course, because Madan-mohan means even more, is the attractor of Cupid. He's the attractor of Cupid. So Cupid is very attractive, Mohan. But Madan-mohan, his attraction is so much so that it bewilders Cupid. And in particular, it's mentioned that the lotus feet of Madan-mohan, most perfectly represent Sri Krishna in the spiritual world. So when we go to Vrindavan, we can go in that way to the temple of Madan-mohan and meditate on him and pray to him. He is the Sambandha deity, Sambandha Tattva deity. He is the one who establishes our relation with Krishna. So we don't know who we are, what is our relationship with Krishna. But by the mercy of Madan-mohan, we can re-establish that relationship with Krishna. Then going to the Govinda temple, Govindaji is the representative of the Abhidaya process, or the service to Krishna. If we get the mercy of Govinda, then we have attained the service of Krishna. And Gopinath, he is the Prayojana Murti. He is the representative of the goal of Krishna consciousness. What is the goal of Krishna consciousness? Krishna praying, love, pure love of God. So by understanding our relationship, then performing service in that relationship, we attain the goal which is pure love of God. Then there's another deity who is not mentioned here, and that is Radha-Raman. Radha-Raman is very a favorite deity of the Vaishnavas. He said that Radha-Raman, he's actually the deity of Gopal-bhatta Goswami, who is also a disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Rupa and Sanatana Goswami are. So Radha-Raman, he himself manifested. He manifested on his own. He wasn't carved like these other deities. Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Here we have Radha-Raman Jai. See that beautiful deity of Radha-Raman. He was in the form of Shalagram Shilas. I believe 12 Shalagram Shilas Gopal Bhatta Goswami had. And he's intensely had the desire to worship a deity of Krishna, just like his Goswami god brothers, who all had deities. So one day, this deity, or these shalagrams, they were kept aside while he went to bathe, and he came back and he opened the basket, or the covering which they were kept in, and there was a deity. Instead of having shalagrams, there was a deity that just manifested like that. So Radha-Raman, his form is said to be exactly like Krishna's. From the lotus feet, the ankles, the knees, the thighs, the navel, the belly, the chest, the heart, the arms, and his beautiful face finally. So this is the beauty of Radha-Raman. So this is just an introduction to this song. And so the author, he's beginning his prayer to these deities because he wants to enter this relationship with Krishna, isn't it? He wants to enter this mood of Vrindavan by the mercy of the deities in Vrindavan. Then in the second stanza, syama-kunda, radha-kunda, giri-govardhan, kalindi yamuna jaya, jaya-mahavan. All glories to Syam-kund, Radha-kund, Govardhan Hill and the Yamuna River Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan, where Krishna and Balaram displayed all of their childhood pastimes. So Radha-kund and Syam-kund. These two kundas are placed at the end of the Govardhan parikrama. Parikrama means when we go to Vrindavan and we go to Govardhan Hill, we circumambulate the Govardhan Hill. And the final destination is Syam-kund, Radha-kund. Govardhan Hill is said to be like a peacock-shaped hill. It's a peacock shape. Krishna loves peacocks so much. He's the shape of a peacock for the pleasure of Krishna. And these two kundas, these two lakes, they are like the eyes of the peacock, where we finally reach from the Govardhan Parikram. And it's explained by Rupa Goswami in his Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, that of all the places in the universe, there is first of all the material world and the spiritual world. But within the spiritual world, there is also different degrees of revelation of Krishna. So there is the Vaikuntha planets, then there is the Ayodhya Dham, then there is the Vrindavan Dham, like that. So there is, and then even within Vrindavan Dham, then there is so many forests mentioned. So one is mentioned here, the Mahavan forest. And then there is the Govardhan Hill, which is even higher. And then it's said that the highest place of all the highest place in the entire material and spiritual world, as revealed by Rupa Goswami, is the syama-kunda and radha-kunda. In particular, of the two, radha-kunda is the highest place. So we can discuss a little bit about this radha-kunda. How did radha-kunda appear? So in Krishna's Bhoma-lila, in his world, in his material world pastimes, when he descended to this material world, there was a demon who was sent by the king Kamsa, whose name was Aristasura. Aristasura, he was able to take the form of a giant bull. He was a mystic. He had mystic power, and by his mystic power, he took the form of a bull. He saw that if I take the form of this bull, then I can best attack Krishna. There was his whole intention. So of course, many people are doing yoga with so many different intentions. And so this powerful Aristasura personality, he used his power for this purpose of defeating Krishna. So demonic, huh? So he came in the form of a giant bull. He was so large, his hump, the cows and bulls in India, they have a bump or a hump in the back, His hump was so high, it looked like a mountain. It was reaching the clouds. So from a distance, they could hear this bull roaring and galloping towards them, stampeding towards them in Vrindavan. And they could see this like giant mountain moving so quickly towards them. It's explained that the roaring of this bull was so piercing the ears that even some of the cows, the pregnant cows and the pregnant mothers, they would have miscarriage. It was so disturbing, the sound of this disgusting demon. And he came to attack Krishna. So Krishna was standing there with the arm on his friend's shoulder, just like we see in Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. Krishna is standing with his arm on Balaram's shoulder. He was standing like that. So Prabhupada asked some devotee, who is stronger, Krishna or Balaram? Once Prabhupada asked this, when they saw the opening of the temple in ISKCON Vrindavan. So sometimes Prabhupada would say, Balaram is stronger, Krishna is leaning on him. And then so devotees, they picked that up. And then he would ask them again, who is stronger, Krishna or Balaram? And Prabhupada would say, how can you say Balaram? Krishna is the source of Balaram. So Krishna was standing like this with his friend. And Krishna challenged this bull, enormous bull. He said, you are the lowest of all living creatures. Krishna is saying that. That's tattva if Krishna says something. This bull was the lowest of all living entities. Even though he was so powerful and strong. And he had these mystic abilities as well. Krishna said, why are you frightening the inhabitants of Gokul? What will you gain from doing this harmful activity? And so Krishna said, so you come to challenge my authority. And so I'm prepared to fight you. And without any hesitation, the foolish bull, Aristasura, he was digging his hooves in the ground. Have you seen? Like in places like Mexico, they have like bullfighting, Can imagine? This is a giant bull, thudding his foot in the ground, ready to attack, run towards Krishna. And he's digging into the earth there and making, terrible sound in the ground. And he's ready and his eyes are open, red color, bloodshot eyes, and his tail is high in the sky, like embracing the clouds. And he runs towards Krishna. And Krishna so expertly catches his hoof, and spins him around, and throws him. But this demon, he's not at all dissuaded. Krishna is playing with him, Of course, Krishna doesn't even have to touch him. He could take his life straight out of his, he could take his life energy, life air straight out of his heart if he wishes to. But Krishna wishes to play with this demon. And so Krishna throws him. And he comes running back. And then Krishna grabs his horns and spins him and throws him again. So like that, it's explained that it's like a giant elephant. Krishna is described like a giant elephant throwing a small inimical elephant. Even though Krishna, he doesn't change his size or his form or any of his features, he's able to throw this mountain-like demon away by the horns. And then he comes back again to attack Krishna. And Krishna gives him a kick into the ground. Of course, the demon is so big, but Krishna is able to kick him on the ground. And it's described that it's like when one squeezes a wet cloth and wipes the floor. He was wiping the floor with him, you could say. So this is how Krishna displayed this pastime of removing the Arista-asura, killing the Arista-asura demon. Now, not everyone took to it so kindly. Srimati Radharani had a different mood on this. So Radharani said, how could you kill a bull? You were a cowherd boy, a protector of the cows and the bulls. Yeah, you slaughtered a bull. You're totally uncivilized. And I don't want anything to do with you. And so Krishna was like, I've just saved the residents of Vrindavan. And I've been abandoned by Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, he didn't know what to do. He felt that he had to purify himself to get Radharani's favor again. So he summoned all of the holy rivers to come in one place. And they all being his submissive devotees, all appeared at once. And so they made a kund. Actually, that hoof print which Arista-asura made in the ground formed a kund, which is now known as syama-kunda. And the rivers submissively filled up the kund to make a lake. And Krishna bathed in that water, purifying water of all of the rivers in the universe, all of the holy rivers in the universe. And then when he approached Srimati Radharani, he said that now I've purified of the sin of killing the cow, gohatya. I will not speak to you anymore because you sided with a demon. So this is the sweetness of Vrindavan, the exchanges of Radha and Krishna. And so Radharani then, her mood changed. Her heart became very soft because, of course, she's very soft-hearted. She had compassion on that living entity, even the lowest of the living entities. She's very soft-hearted. And she couldn't bear the thought of not being with Krishna. So, with all of her sakhis, her friends, they got their bangles and they were digging in the ground with the endeavor to make another kund. And after digging in the ground and making a hole in the ground to accommodate a pond, they had to get the holy water to fill it also. Altogether, they were serving Srimati Radharani. And so they went to Manasi Ganga, which is further away. It's also in Govardhan. So the gopis, they formed a long queue, a long line, and they would pass the water pots from Manasi Ganga and fill the water of Radha-kunda. Now, being so impressed by the devotion of Srimati Radharani, all those holy rivers which were in the syama-kunda, they came out and they worshipped Radharani. They wanted to be honored by Radharani. They wanted Radharani to bathe in their waters. This is the devotion of Srimati Radharani. And so they all entered into the Radha-kunda as well, where Radharani bathed, and her Sakhis also had their various kunds around Radha-kunda and syama-kunda. And so it's considered that this Radha-kunda is as dear to Krishna as Srimati Radharani herself. And if one ever gets the opportunity to bathe in this Radha-kunda, then they will attain that the mercy of Radharani. They will attain Krishna Prem just by simply having a bath in the Radha-kunda. So this is the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And these kunds, they were not known in the modern day until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna in the mood of Radharani, he unveiled the Radha-kunda and syama-kunda again for our benefit. So that mercy is available to us by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And like that, he instructed the Goswamis to excavate all of the other holy places in Vrindavan. So we'll go on to the third verse now. Kesi-ghata, bamsi-bata, dwadasa-kanan, sarva-lila koila, sri-nanda-nandan. All glories to Keshi-ghat, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon. All glories to the bamsi-bata tree, where Krishna attracted all the gopis to come by playing his flute. Glories to all the 12 forests of Braj. At these places the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. So another pastime is mentioned. Incidentally, this first pastime of the Ristasura is mentioned in chapter 36 of the Krishna book, or in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now this kesi-ghata is mentioned in this verse. That is from the 37th chapter. So the next chapter. So who is the Keshi demon then? Again, another mystic, a mystic yogi, who by association of Kamsa became demonic minded. He was evil minded. And he had the ability to run at the speed of the mind. He could take the form of a horse, and of course horses are especially fast. So this horse, he could run at the speed of the mind. He could be somewhere in a moment. So just like now, our idea is to absorb our mind in the pastimes of Vrindavan. And I hope that by this discussion, our minds are actually going to Vrindavan. So this is the speed of the mind. So this Keshi demon, he could run like that. And as he was running, his mane was flying, in the sky. And he was braying so loudly to challenge Krishna in a duel. So it was at this place, Keshi-Ghat. Ghat is a bathing place on the bank of the river Yamuna, which is still there today. The Keshi-Ghat and the bamsi-bata tree is not too far also. And so these wonderful places we can still go and visit, as I mentioned, by the mercy of the Goswamis who excavated these holy places. And the Keshi-Ghat is where Krishna defeated the Keshi demon. So horses, as you know, they have the ability to kick up their feet, and kick with their hooves. So this horse, he came to Krishna and tried to kick him. And he kicked Krishna in the chest, right in the chest, giant horse. But Krishna didn't even move, not even budge. He was still standing there as if nothing happened. And the demon was completely bewildered, you know. I just gave him a good thud and he's still standing firm like an unbreakable like a tree. So then again he tried to attack Krishna, and it's described that Krishna threw him. He grabbed his hooves and threw him the way that Garuda throws a snake. But the demon kept coming back. And so in the play of Krishna, in this lila, he was able to, and anyone who knows about horses, where is the horse most weak? Does anyone know? Horses, every animal has its strength and weakness. So these demons, although they take forms of different powerful animals, still they have some weakness by Krishna's arrangement. So the horses were very fast, very strong legs, and Krishna, he was able to reach into the horse's mouth, because the horse's mouth is said to be the most sensitive part of the horse, which is why when you see these horses in the stables, or the those who care for horses, they cover their mouth, they protect the mouth of the horse. So Krishna was able to reach into his mouth with a punch. Not only that, but then his hand expanded in the mouth of the giant horse. Not only that, but then his hand became hot like iron. So Krishna's mystic power is just inconceivable compared to any mystic power of any ordinary jiva, any living entity. So Krishna gives these demons the ability to threaten his devotees. Just like in our lives, we have so many challenges and difficulties. But Krishna is showing us here that there's nothing, there's no difficulty which is more powerful or unsurmountable for him. Like they say, if you have a big problem, then they say that show your big problem how powerful your big God is. So no problem that Krishna can't overcome. And only that, when Krishna defeats these evil persons, Krishna, because he is absolute, he gives them liberation. So Krishna is actually very kind. I gave this class last year at the ISKCON London temple, and someone said to me at the end of the class, "That's really horrible, Krishna killing bulls, Krishna killing horses." The person was like a horse lover, So he was like really, a little bit affected by that, because he understands, the care of horses and that. So I said, but when Krishna, whether he loves someone or he fights someone, the destination is the same. They get liberation. So Krishna is equal to everyone. depending on how you approach Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate with you. If you approach him inimically, then he will challenge you and defeat you. But like the gopis, if you approach Krishna lovingly, then he will challenge you in love as well and defeat you. So even the demons, they get liberation. Then in the next stanza, number 4, sri-nanda-jasoda jaya, jaya gopa-gan, sri-damadi jaya jaya, dhenu-vatsa-gan. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sri Dham, the older brother of Srimati Radharani and Ananga Manjari. All glories to the cows and calves of Vrindavan. So here, many types of relationships with Krishna are uncovered, are revealed. So first there is the, in ascending order, we have the neutral relationship with Krishna. Then there is the servant relationship with Krishna. Then there is a relationship of friendship with Krishna. Then the parental relationship with Krishna is higher still. And the highest of all is the conjugal relationship with Krishna. So a neutral relationship means that there is a loving appreciation for Krishna. There's so much appreciation for Krishna. So this song is wonderful because it's glorifying Krishna. Jai, 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 Jai. As we hear in this song so many times. All glories to Krishna and all his associates and his activities. So there's an appreciation. All of these rasas with Krishna, they're all based on appreciation. Appreciation then grows to servanthood or servitude even. So then one has an active service to Krishna. So like these dhenu and vatsa. The dhenus are cows and vatsa means calf. So they're serving Krishna, actively giving Krishna milk. They're giving Krishna his occupation to go and enjoy in the fields, the pasture fields with the cows. So they're acting in that way, the servants of Krishna. Then you have the more appreciation than that is the friendship, the fraternal love. So here is mentioned Sri Dham, he is the friend of Krishna. He's the head of all of the gopas. He's the head of all of them. So he's Krishna's most dear friend, Sri Dham. And who is Sri Dham? He's the brother of Srimati Radharani. And who is Srimati Radharani? She is the head of all of the gopis. And then of course Krishna's mother and father are mentioned. The paternal relationship is also glorified here. Krishna's divine mother and father. So we were reading in the Krishna book discussions recently about how the austerities that Krishna's mother and father performed to become Nanda and Yashoda, isn't it? So I won't go into that in so much detail this evening. So like that we can see then conjugal love is considered the highest, most appreciation for Krishna. And all of these relationships, they control Krishna. So conjugal love controls Krishna the most. So Krishna is most controlled by the love of the gopis. So much so that when he was leaving Vrindavan, who was there to hold him back? Right up to the boundary of Vrindavan, where Akrura was taking Krishna. He was taking Krishna to Mathura to challenge King Kamsa. And it was the gopis who were there trying to control Krishna, bring him back, not let him go. And Krishna, he couldn't leave. He said, I'll come back. I promise, I'll come back. He said, Na parayanaham, there's no way I can repay you for your devotion. But of course, Krishna, he didn't come back. Until he was much older, and the Rath Yatra pastime explains that. Because the gopis, they were pulling Krishna back. He didn't come back. They had to pull him back to Vrindavan. And this is Rath Yatra. Now in stanza number 5. Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya abhira-nagari. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni, grandmother of Madhu Mangal and Nandamukhi, and beloved disciple of Dev Rishi Narad. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Raj. So I was thinking how in the preface to Krishna book, what is the first thing Srila Prabhupada writes? Is you have the foreword, which is by George Harrison. Then you have the preface to the Krishna book. Then you have the introduction, and then you have the Krishna Lila. What is the first thing which Srila Prabhupada writes in that preface? Prabhupada writes how his first opening line is, I'll just take it here. In the Western countries, when someone sees the cover of a book like Krishna, he immediately asks, who is Krishna? Who is the girl with Krishna? Etc. This is the opening sentence of Srila Prabhupada. Who is Krishna? Who is this girl with Krishna? So this is a very secret thing. For us, it's like, everywhere Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. But it's also important to remember this is a very secret, most sacred relationship that Krishna has. Just like when a girl and boy meet, that is not told to anyone, isn't it? Before the marriage, is not revealed to everyone that this girl and this boy, they're preparing for their marriage. Even someone who is a friend, they don't necessarily tell. In the community, it's not necessarily known. It's usually a very private thing. Who is girlfriend and boyfriend? And this is the Vedic culture. So it's not revealed. Of course, modern day is a different story. Modern day, when they're young, they go out and they show themselves off to everyone. And then when they're older, they just stay indoors and hide. And they fight. Different culture. So, in our Vedic culture, this is a very secret thing. Who is the girlfriend of God? So very mercifully, Srila Prabhupada is revealing these things to us. First sentence, Krishna book. So here so much description is given about Krishna's pleasure potency. Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani is not an ordinary lady. She's not an ordinary girl. God, Krishna, he derives pleasure. How? By the personification of Srimati Radharani. She is a personification of his pleasure. Therefore, it said, we cannot do anything to please Krishna unless Srimati Radharani gives us that blessing to please Krishna. Prabhupada would say, instead of trying to please Krishna, try to please Srimati Radharani. Pray to Srimati Radharani. I believe he said that in London, if not other places also. So who is Radharani? She is the daughter of Rishabhanu and Kirtida, beautiful Kirtida. So this is revealed in this song. So it's a wonderful meditation in how we can glorify all these residents up to Krishna's dearly most beloved Srimati Radharani. And then we have Purnamasi, who is mentioned. So even in Vrindavan, there is a guru of the residents of Vrindavan, Purnamasi. She is the guru of Vrindavan. She is the disciple of Narada Muni. And of course, her grandson is Madhu Mangal, Krishna's very dear Brahmin friend. And he displays so many wonderful pastimes with Krishna. In particular, his favorite is eating ladus with Krishna. How they can steal ladus. How they can get more and more ladus from the gopis. So like that, all of these relationships with Krishna and Vrindavan are very sweet. Now in number 6 stanza, Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara Vrindavana-majh, Jaya Jaya krishna-sakha batu dwija-raj. All glories to Gopeshwar Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmin friend, Madhu Mangal. So we're hearing about all of these wonderful, exalted personalities, who have very intimate connection with Krishna. So what does this mean for us? Because we want to be there, right? Who wants to be there with Krishna in Vrindavan, enjoying eternally? So let's speak about that a little bit. How do we attain Vrindavan? So Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara. Gopeshwara, Mahadev, is the form of Lord Shiva. So sometimes it's considered that the Vaishnavas, they don't worship Lord Shiva. But in other way, it can be considered that the Vaishnavas, they do want the mercy of Lord Shiva, of course. In particular, there are 5 Lord Shivas in Vrindavan, Shiva Lingas. So there was Mahadev, who was worshipped by Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami, who we spoke about earlier, he was a devotee. He was a worshipper of Lord Shiva as well. And Lord Shiva gave him the blessing that the place of his bhajan, he wouldn't be disturbed by any of the elements. And even today it's known that the place where Sanatana Goswami performed his bhajan in around Govardhan, that place, there's never any mosquitoes because of the mercy of Lord Shiva, which he gave to Sanatana Goswami. So it's said like this, there's 5 gatekeepers of Vrindavan, 5 personalities who give us entrance into Vrindavan, the Raj-lilas of Krishna. So this is very interesting to know, because if we want to attain Vrindavan, Krishna says, One who says he is my devotee, he's not my devotee. One who is the devotee of my devotees, he is my devotee. Krishna says to Arjun in the Adi Puran this statement. So there are 5 gatekeepers. We need their mercy so that we can enter into Vrindavan. So he said one of them is Yoga Maya. Because we're in Mahamaya, we need to enter into Yoga Maya first. Without getting through this illusion of I am this body, I am this important person in this world. You know, all these things are mine. All these relationships are dear to me in this world. Without getting removed of that Maya, without entering into Yoga Maya, we cannot enter into Vrindavan really. So Purnamasi, as we spoke about, the Guru of Vrindavan, she is Yoga Maya. So she can give us that mercy. And then the next gatekeeper is Mahadev, Lord Shiva, who we spoke about a little bit already. Then number 3 is Govardhan Hill. We need the mercy of Govardhan Hill, who is known as Haridasa Varya. So the gopis, they considered that the best of devotees, because of course everyone considers the gopis, in Vrindavan everyone considers the gopis to be the highest. But who do the gopis consider to be the highest? According to the gopis, Govardhan Hill is the highest. So they name him as Haridasa Varya. He's the greatest servant of Hari. He's the most dear. Why? Because he serves all of the residents of Vrindavan. Govardhan Hill. He gives nourishment to the cows, to the mind and senses. He gives all of those fresh grasses which the cows eat. He provides all of the trees which have the fruits and all the vegetation which the residents of Vrindavan need. So that's what the meaning of Govardhan is. One who nourishes the cows, the mind and the senses. Then we have Yamuna, the river Yamuna. So Yamuna, she is considered the daughter of the sun god. And her brother is Yamaraj. So Yama and Yami, as they're called. And she appears in Vrindavan as a devotee of Krishna. And Krishna performs so many sporting pastimes in the rivers of the Yamuna. So by the mercy of the Yamuna, we can enter into Vrindavan. Prayers to Yamuna. And finally, the 5th gatekeeper of Vrindavan is the dust of Vraj. The dust of Vrindavan itself. It's so special. Generally, when we go somewhere, we don't even notice where we're standing, the ground we're on. So the dust of Vraj, we can actually offer prayers to the dust of Vraj. It's worshipable, that dust. When Krishna, in the form of Narayan, is in the Vaikunthas, it's said that he wears, most opulent and beautiful clothing. His shoes, his padukas are splendidly effulgent. But Krishna at home, Krishna in Vrindavan, he runs around bare feet on the dust of Vraj. And the gopis, they notice his footprints impressed in the dust. And they have so much love and separation when Krishna runs away. And they cry in this dust of Vraj, meditating on the lotus imprints of Krishna's two beautiful lotus feet. And Srila Prabhupada, he created our ISKCON temple in that place called Raman Reti. Reti means dust also, huh? Or the sand. And that sand where Prabhupada established ISKCON is the playground of Krishna, is the playground. Raman means what gives pleasure. So all the gopas, they would go there and play. Which is why we have Krishna Balaram in the center of this ISKCON Vrindavan temple, because that was where the boys would play. So Prabhupada made Krishna Balaram the central deities of that temple. So this is the speciality of the dust of Raj. So in stanza number 7, Jaya Rama-ghata Jaya rohini-nandan Jaya Jaya vrindavana-basi jatajan. All glories to Ramghat, where Lord Balaram performed his Ras dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to the residents of Vrindavan. So I've spoken a little bit about Lord Balaram already in various places. And this place, Ramghat, is very dear to Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram, he specifically performs the Ras dance there. So Krishna has his Ras dance with his gopis, and even Balaram has a Ras dance with his gopis, his group, at this place, Ramghat. And then the residents of Vrindavan are mentioned, all of them. The Vrindavana-basi, the residents of Vrindavan. So all of the residents of Vrindavan actually are worshipable persons. And Lord Balaram, he is mentioned especially because he is the first expansion of Krishna. And Prabhupada explains that just like if you have candles, the first candle can light the second candle can light the third candle. And so there's so many incarnations of Krishna like that. They're all equally powerful. But Lord Balaram's position is unique because as Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, just like you have the original candle which lights all the other candles, or in this case we can say that the first candle lights the second candle, and that second candle is Lord Balaram. That second candle lights all the other candles. So Krishna expands as Balaram, that's his first expansion. And then Balaram, he expands all of the other expansions to serve Krishna in all of these different ways. So even in Vrindavan, Lord Balaram, he expands as Krishna's ornaments, as his shoes, as his bed. All of this is Balaram's expansion. This is how Balaram serves Krishna. And especially as Krishna's older brother. How did Balaram become Krishna's older brother? So there's a story in the Ramayana that in the Ram-lila, Lakshman was always subservient to Lord Ram. He would have to do everything Lord Ram ordered because he was the elder brother, Lord Ram was. And so to increase that rasa, increase that relationship, that taste, he was feeling a little bit prohibited that, when my brother tells me something, I have to do it, but I want to serve him in a different way. So in order to increase that relationship, then he desired to be older to Krishna. He desired to, in the next pastime, to be the older brother, not the younger brother. So this is why Lord Balaram, he's the older brother of Krishna. Then number 8. Jaya dwija-patni jaya naga-kanya-gan bhakti te jahara paila govinda-caran. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. So two persons are mentioned here, the Vedic Brahmins and the Kaliya serpent. And so the common feature is that they were both very proud. In the pastime of the Vedic Brahmanas, the boys, the cowherd boys, were very hungry. And so they went to beg for some food from the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifice. And they went in the mood that, please give us some food because Krishna is very hungry. Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Brahmanas, of course, worship Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. So Namo Brahmana means that the Brahmanas, they worship Krishna. And Krishna was personally there for them to worship, for them to offer their food to. But those Brahmins, they didn't offer their food to Krishna. They thought their yagyas and sacrifices and austerities was more important, their study. And they were very proud of doing that very well. But the wives of the Brahmins gave food and offered it to Krishna and Balaram by the arrangement of the boys. And so Krishna, the Brahmanas, when they realized their mistake, they condemn themselves for their pride. Because Krishna, he doesn't like very proud men. And we see this in these two pastimes. The next pastime is the Kaliya serpent. In that pastime, the serpent, this very powerful serpent, Kaliya, he was sent away from his original home by Garuda. And he came to Vrindavan, he came to the Yamuna to live. And because of his, he was very powerful, he had a lot of poison. And he polluted the whole area of the Yamuna river. And he stayed in a lake within the Yamuna. And this affected all of the nature in that area. So beautiful as Vrindavan is, it became polluted. And the plant life, the wildlife were all dying away. And as Krishna and Balaram were playing, it came to their attention, the boys had fainted, the cows had fainted because of the toxic fumes coming from the Yamuna. And so what did Krishna do? He climbed up upon a tall tree, tied up his dhoti very tightly, and jumped in. To the surprise of everyone watching, they were devastated because the fumes were so strong that even the cows were fainting, the boys were fainting. And so some of the boys, they ran back home to Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj to call them and say, Krishna has jumped into the Yamuna and there's a poisonous snake. So all of the residents of Vrindavan then came to that place where the tree Krishna jumped from was. And they were crying in separation. They were not sure what would happen to him. Until Krishna appeared on the hoods of the snake. He was dancing and playing his flute. And in this way, the Kaliya serpent got mercy, as is said here. Bhakti te jahara pailo govinda-caran. He got the mercy of the dust of Krishna's lotus feet, govinda-caran. That mercy which even the devas, they want so much. They want the dust of Krishna's lotus feet so much. Even the great devas like Brahma and Lord Shiva, those same lotus feet were dancing on the head of this Kaliya serpent who got so much mercy from Krishna as he was being defeated, and he was coughing up all of this poison and blood. So even they're glorified in this song because they attain the mercy of Krishna. How? Because the wives were devotees of Krishna. And so we find Prabhupada sometimes says that the women, they become more inclined to bhakti more than the men because of this pride of men. So they were saved. The Brahmanas and the Kaliya serpent were saved by the prayers of the wives. And then in the next sloka, the next stanza, number 9, sri-rasa-mandala jaya, jaya radha-syam, jaya jaya rasa-lila, sarva-manoram. All glories to the place where the Ras dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Syam. All glories to the divine Ras dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. So here, in particular, the Ras dance is mentioned. And the Ras dance takes place in the hot season. Of course, today is an extremely hot day, isn't it? So this Ras dance, it takes place, actually there are several times of year which it takes place. But in particular in the hot season, the Ras dance takes place along with the Jhulan, swing pastimes of Krishna, which is what we are celebrating at this time. So the idea is that Krishna and Radharani are served by the gopis. Because it's very hot, their beautiful swing is made for them, so that when they are pushed on the swing, they feel the breeze, and that prickly heat is not like affecting them so much. So in that way, they enjoy the pastime of the swing, the Jhulan Yatra. And this swing is gorgeously decorated. And then so many of the gopis, they come and they push the swing for Radha and Krishna. And this festival, this Jhulan Yatra, is like, you can say, the emblem of all of the festivals of Vrindavan, in the way that Krishna and Radharani are in the center of the enjoyment. And all of the festivals of Vrindavan, Radha and Krishna are always the center of enjoyment. So in this hot season, then, is not the gopis and gopas who are playing on the swings by themselves. They facilitate Krishna and Radharani to be on the swing and give them pleasure. So this is the essence of bhakti, to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna. And in some ways it's explained that bhakti means to unite Radha and Krishna. And therefore we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chant is actually uniting Krishna and Radharani. Krishna with his pleasure potency. So as the swing is moving and the pace picks up, the momentum picks up, Radharani becomes a little fearful at the speed of the swing, such that she wants to embrace Krishna out of fear of the swing. And all of the residents there, they are rejoicing because Radha and Krishna have embraced. So this is described. They brought together Radha and Krishna. And so this gives them great pleasure through this pastime. And so then how much more wonderful is it that Srila Prabhupada is giving us the opportunity to participate in the same pastime, to swing Radha and Krishna, to bring Radha and Krishna together. So that in that way, Bhakti Yoga is very easy as well. Even a child can enjoy decorating swing and swinging the deities and for the pleasure of the Lord. And chant, they can chant Hare Krishna. Yeah. Then in the 10th verse, Jayojjwala-rasa, sarva-rasa-sar, parakiya-bhave, jaha, brajate praja. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, and is propagated in Braj by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine parakiya-bhave, paramour love. So as we said many times, how this relation of Radha and Krishna is a very secret thing. It's a paramour love. It's not that Radha and Krishna are married. Once a person came to Srila Prabhupada, or rather, sorry, there was a person who came to a saintly person, and he asked for his blessings. And at the wedding ceremony, the person gave the blessing that may your love be like the love of Radha and Krishna. So the person who wasn't aware, he accepted that blessing. But then a family member acknowledged that, but Radha and Krishna, they are not together. They are they're actually celebrated as being in this paramour love, or like a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're always trying to meet each other. They're never able to meet. They're always having to meet secretly. So this priest who was performing the ceremony, who was giving the blessing, he was baffled that actually he didn't have the right understanding of Radha and Krishna. So this is a very secret thing, this love of Radha and Krishna, or paramour, parakiya-bhave is called. So we see that in the material world, the relationship of boyfriend and girlfriend, as we said earlier, is not the correct end. It's not seen as always the right thing, you know, that someone is just boyfriend and girlfriend, they remain like that, according to Vedic culture. So that's seen as lower thing. But in the spiritual world, which is a reflection of the material world, that becomes the most spiritual thing, most furthest away, because it is a reflection. Just like in a reflection, if you have a reflection of a tree in the water, then first the branches are there, and then all of the leaves of the tree are at the top. But in the reflection, it's the other way around, isn't it? So in that way, the spiritual world, what is the lowest in the material world is the highest in the spiritual world. And more so than that, the relationship of Radha and Krishna is of separation, because they're always trying to meet. And in that relationship, there is a different type of enjoyment. It's a higher enjoyment, how to meet Krishna all the time. As Prabhupada would explain, the Goswamis, their mood wasn't that I've attained Krishna, I've attained bhakti, you know. The mood was always, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? As explained in the Sad Goswami Astaka song. So this is being glorified here, this separation from Krishna. And then in the final verse, number 11, Shri Janava Padma Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nam Sankirtan. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. So in this verse, the singer or the author of the song, whose name is Dina Dukhi Krishna Das, he is praying to his spiritual master. So we explained in so many verses how Vrindavan is glorified and how by this glorification we receive the mercy of the residents of Vrindavan and so forth. But finally, he's remembering his spiritual master, and that is Janava Devi. So he's begging for the mercy of Janava Devi. And Janava Devi was the wife of Lord Nityananda, who is none other than Lord Balaram. Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoile Nitai. And so not only is Lord Balaram, he is the Adi Guru, he is the original Guru. Then that means that Janava, his consort, Janava Devi, she is the Guru Shakti. She is the energy of the spiritual master personified. And so here, Dean Krishna Das, he's praying to Janava Devi for this mercy so that he can sing the glories of Krishna. So he's not so interested in only entering the pastimes, but he's just so enraptured by the singing of the holy names and glorifying the pastimes of Krishna. So this is considered the topmost thing, the glorification. And this is what the Sankirtan movement, the Hare Krishna movement is all about. Because Krishna, he wanted to experience what it's like to be his own devotee. And therefore he incarnated as Lord Chaitanya. And as Lord Chaitanya, how did he experience that devotion? He experienced it by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And in this way, he opened out the storehouse of the love of Vraj, and he gave it to everyone. So this sweetness of Vrindavan is one aspect of the love of Krishna. And another aspect is the mercy of Krishna, giving that mercy to others, giving the mercy of Krishna's sweetness to others. So the Harinam Sankirtan movement is all about giving Vrindavan, the sweetness of Vrindavan to others in the form of the chanting of Hare Krishna. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to establish. Okay, so it's getting on quite late now, so I think we can end here. Does anyone want to share any reflections or any thoughts as we've been discussing from the points raised? Otherwise, I'm happy to end here. It's gone in a little longer than I expected, so I don't know how many are still on board. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I have a couple of very quick questions. May I ask, please?
Questions? Okay. I wasn't intending on questions, but that's fine. Let's try.
Questions. Okay. So the first verse of the song. So you were explaining the various deities and how they inspire us to worship Krishna, but they themselves are Krishna themselves in his original forms. So how can they be lesser than Krishna to be able to inspire us towards Krishna? So that's my first question. And my second question is the five, the gatekeepers, so one of them being Yogamaya, but Yogamaya is Radharani, isn't she? So are we saying that Radharani is one of the gatekeepers of Vrindavan? Thank you.
So, so the first question was about the three presiding deities mentioned in Vrindavan. So it's not that the deities are incomplete. They are Krishna himself, yeah? But they represent, they facilitate different aspects of attaining Krishna. So there are different stages in our spiritual path which we overcome. Huh? And so by praying to these different deities, we can progress on that journey to Krishna. And so Krishna, he incarnates in his deity form so that we can serve, so that we can serve him even with our material senses. And by thus gaining his mercy, we can go back to Godhead. Yeah. So deity worship is an integral part of spiritual practice. Is that okay?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
So therefore, they represent the aspects of establishing the relationship with Krishna, which is madana-mohan. Because madana-mohan is so attractive that even if we're attracted by Cupid in this material world, he's able to attract us even further if we approach him. Yeah. Then there's Govinda, who establishes us in service. Govinda, he, as Rupa Goswami says in one of his poems, we should not look upon the kesi-ghata where Sri Govinda performs his pastimes if we want to enjoy with our friends in this world. So he says it in a contrary way in this poem that, don't go to kesi-ghata because Govinda's there. And if you see Govinda, you're going to lose all your friends in this world because he's so attractive, you'll want to serve him. He says, so don't go there. So he says it in a contrary way. So by the mercy of serving Govinda, that relationship is experienced. And then of course Gopinath, his mercy is that he offers us the love of Godhead, Krishna Prem. Yeah? So pure love of Godhead, Krishna Prem.
Thank you.
And your second question was about Yogamaya. So is Yogamaya the same as Srimati Radharani? Well, not exactly, because it's explained that Radharani is the Haladini Shakti of Krishna. She's a pleasure potency. Yeah. So Krishna has many Shaktis, and Radharani is the origin of all of the energies of Krishna. Yeah. But specifically, Radharani is Krishna's pleasure potency. Now, on the other hand, the Yogamaya is Krishna's spiritual energy. Yeah. So Krishna has two predominating energies in that he has the material world and the spiritual world. So he has the Bahiranga Shakti and the Antaranga Shakti, or he has the Yogamaya, where he has the Mahamaya and the Yogamaya in that way. Yeah. And so the personification of that energy is Krishna's sister, Subhadra. But Krishna's sister Subhadra isn't in the Vrindavan pastimes. So specifically in Vrindavan, it is Purnamasi, who is the Guru of all the residents of Vrindavan. So by the mercy of the Guru, one can enter into that place, Vrindavan. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. So she's the pleasure potency, and okay, I understand now. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sometimes these things they seem a little bit how do you say, like abstract to us, isn't it? Like an idea. But these are all basically personalities. So we can try to get as much mercy from as many personalities as possible. That's the best thing. Try to get as much mercy as possible from all of these exalted personalities who are related with Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, would anyone like to share any comments or any thoughts, any reflections on this? Anything you could add?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Satyanarayana Prabhu.
Yeah, it's just something to say. As you mentioned, syama-kunda and radha-kunda higher than giri-govardhan.
Right.
And yeah, that's correct. But it's not only higher than giri-govardhan, but it's even higher than Mathura and Vaikuntha.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is
I
something
didn't explain in full detail.
if
Right.
someone doesn't know. Because
Yes,
normally in saying, people think Vaikuntha is the highest,
Yes, I didn't explain in detail that you have the material world.
You didn't have time either, but
Yeah.
this is something quick to share with others.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, actually, because I skipped that information. So in the nectar instruction, which I referenced, there's explained in more detail that above the material world is the spiritual world of Vaikuntha. And then above Vaikuntha, there is Goloka Vrindavan. There is Ayodhya, and then there is Goloka Vrindavan. And then in Vrindavan, all the forests of all of the areas. Then there is the Govardhan Hill, and then higher than Govardhan Hill is the specific place in Govardhan Hill, Radha-kunda. That's considered the highest. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu, for clarifying.
And the reason Syama-kunda and Radha-kunda highest because Lord Krishna and Radharani, they were bathing in those kunds. That's why.
So there's many kunds actually, isn't it, in Vrindavan?
Yeah, many kunds, yeah.
Yeah. So this one is the most dear because Radharani, she bathes there.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else stand out for anyone? Was any points which you liked in particular? We could have one more. Or would you like to go into the kirtan now? We can sing this bhajan. Be nice to if anyone else has anything to share. Okay, so if you have the Sri Vraja-dhama-mahimamrita, as it's called, then we can sing. I can lead here, and then you can sing along in the mute. I'll just sing through once the whole song. Does it sound okay for everyone? Would you be interested in singing along? Yeah? All right then. So if you have the words there, we can all sing. I'll sing on the speaker, on the microphone. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Shri Govinda, Gopinath, madana-mohan, syama-kunda, radha-kunda, giri-govardhan, Jaya Jaya kesi-ghata bamsi-bata dwadasa-kanan jaha sarva-lila koila sri-nanda-nandan sri-nanda-jasoda jaya jaya gopa-gan sri-rama-di jaya jaya dhenu-vatsa-gan jaya vrishabhanu jaya Kirtida-sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya abhira-nagari Jaya Jaya Gopeshwara vrindavana-majh Jai Jai Krishna-sakha batu dwija-raj Jaya rama-ghata Jaya rohini-nandan Jai Jai vrindavana-basi Jaya dwija-patni Jaya naga-kanya-gan Bhakti tejahara bhaila govinda-caran sri-rasa-mandala Jaya Jaya radha-syam Jaya Jaya rasa-lila sarva-manoram jayojjwala-rasa sarva-rasa-sar parakiya-bhave jaha vrajate-kutta Jana-pada padma Oriya-smara Dina Krishna-dase kohe Naam Sankirtan Okay, everyone, thank you so much for participating and for patiently listening. So we'll end here, and we'll be resuming the Krishna book readings on Tuesday again. So if you want any more information about that, you can contact me if you've not already been part of the group. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday. I wish you a happy Balaram Punim. In the meantime, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna.